which is us, have to pay the additional expense to pressurize it, get it all. It just comes dumped into our pool, our pond.
I was gonna say, is there anyone else other than us that use
We're the
that?
only one covering it. That is covering our cost to TRNs, or, I'm sorry, Fort Worth. For the rest of that, we've got to put in lines, install the lines, put in the pump stations, and then get it to your property.
It was part of the original plan of doing the reclaimed water was that it was going to be a user-paid system. And so that's, you know, if we only did it at $1.55, we would never pay for the system.
Yeah, so they're not boosted, just start.
If the city ultimately like gets it at the dog park, that would be boosted. We'll have to pay a boosted.
Right.
If we get it into Midway Park, it would have to be boosted. The only place that it came naturally through its original termination point from Fort Worth into just a pond that had the capability to be self-boosted was at Texas Star, into the pond.
So can I run my 1-inch PVC pipe over to the pond over there? Because you have an easement.
Are we circulating from the, I don't know how it works, do we circulate from the pond, is that what we're?
So the golf course has a irrigation pump that pumped water out of the pond originally. And so that is their expense, and in fact, we're gonna talk about a thing in here where we got money for refurbishing the golf course pump someday. So the whole idea is, the water is just dumped in there literally at gravity flow. There is no expense incurred to put water in that pond beyond what you just paid for the volume to Fort Worth. All the expense to make it usable, to suck it up and pressurize it out to the golf course's line, it's their own irrigation system. Everybody else, whether it's an apartment complex or an HOA or what have you, you may have a sprinkler system in your yard, but that sprinkler system is designed to receive water at basically 50 PSI. You're expecting to receive it at pressure. That's the difference.
Chris, I think you're really referring to how the water actually gets to our pumps. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Are we pumping out of that pond, or is it?
No. So there's a main line, and it goes by the pond at Texas Star, and there's a spigot that dumps into the pond at Texas Star, and that main line continues all up through Fort Worth and to American Boulevard and across, and it dumps into the pond there at the Riverwalk, what we kind of call the Chesapeake Pond. If you remember, Chesapeake built that, and then leased it to the city for $1 for 40 years, and they built it to the 210 regs. And so that water gravity flows into that pond, and we built a pump station next to that pond, and the city takes the water from that pond and boosts it to our customers.
Now, the irrigation pond Texas Star is not the one on, it's not the pond on 15.
It is not. It's the one back by the driving range between the,
Yeah. It's behind really down.
What happens to the water on 15? It just goes down the Budweiser Creek?
the water on 15 actually is naturally occurring from the Ollie Parker track. And when the golf course was created, they created that pond, and it goes down and into those little tributary creeks that end up at Hurricane Creek.
Let's talk about the historical water costs for our customers. This is based on an 8,000 gallon customer. You'll see their current rate for 2016 comes up to $41.25. The increased rate that we're suggesting is $43.85. And if you were to apply the rebate to that, it'd be back down to $41.85. This is an increase of 1.4% after rebate. If you look at the wastewater side, historic cost, you can see it continues to go up for our customers, and this again is the 8,000 gallon customer. You'll see that 2016, $34.35, and that would increase next year to $36.28. It's $1.93, or 5.6%.
Is that like we have customers that are 8,000, we have a lot of 8,000 gallons.
That is considered
That's
an average
standard, yeah.
customer.
It looks like my bill. I don't have a full or
A lot higher.
Mr. Price, you and I are going to be the exceptions on that.
Yeah.
There aren't many.
Also sounds like volunteer to be one of your.
Mine used to always be 8,000.
You realize your cap should be 12,000 gallons. Your wastewater is there's not a meter on your wastewater. We're using your water usage 90% capped to 12,000 gallons to generate your wastewater.
And that's what we do, because after 12,000, we're assuming it's all irrigation, so it's not going out sanitation system.
So of course we usually go back and look at our comparisons to the other local cities. Now, when we look at this comparison, please note that these are the other cities' current actual rates. We have no idea what they're proposing this week. Everybody's pretty much doing all their proposing this week, just as we are. So that's their existing rate. You'll see that Ulyss's proposed, we're using the proposed rate here. This is our recommended increase rate. So if you go down that column for the 8,000 gallons again, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth column, 8,000 gallons, you'll see that the average of all the other cities currently is $44.43, and Ulyss proposed increase is $43.85. So we're still lower than that. And please note, this sheet does not include the rebate. Okay. Wastewater rate comparisons, same thing. If you look at down that 8,000 gallon customer, you'll see that the average of existing rates for the other cities totals $37.53, and Ulyss's proposed rate increase would take you to $36.28, which is still below that average as well as the other cities, some of the other cities.
Can I seriously ask, where is that in here, the way to compare?
That's on page 8-14.
Okay.
I told you I have.
You probably haven't memorized it this
No,
point.
not yet. And again, as Mr. Barker pointed out, you're billed for 90% of water consumption up to 12,000 gallons. That's why you see that fixed, as you get above that 12,000 gallons on those columns of 15 and 20, it maxes out at $54.14 for bills. Okay. Please stop me if you've got more questions. Water and wastewater combined rate comparison. It's always helpful to look at what this really is together. You'll see that the average of the other cities' existing rates is $81.96. Ulyss's proposed rate, recommended rate, is $80.13 before rebate, and with rebate, it would be $78.13 for that same 8,000 gallon customer for both water and wastewater.
People in Hurst are paying $100 bill every month. We're almost there.
Also on those utility bills, we like to compare the sanitation and recycling rates, just because it's on that same bill. So we can look at that and consider that. You'll see that the average of the other cities comes down to a total of $14.01. And ours comes down to an average of $10.25 with our existing $8.99 for sanitation and $1.26 for recycling. And these are the existing rates. We'll show you the recommended, not recommended, but the increased rates that we'll have come March and April that have already been put into ordinance. Drainage rates, you'll see that we're substantially lower than all the other cities when it comes to drainage rate. The average of all the other cities is $5.32, and the city of Ulyss is $2.50.
What is the drainage rate?
That goes into our drainage fund. That's what we use to do all of our creek maintenance and our drainage projects. And so it goes into a separate fund, and each city charges that to do all of their drainage work.
A lot of them call it stormwater.
Yes.
The commercial is the non-permeable. So if you have 10 acres and you have 5 acres of parking lot, you're paying a fee on your 5 acres. The water runs off the parking lot, goes into storm sewer.
And this is,
Some
you
cities
hear
it's
how talk
really
about,
expensive.
he's got crews that go down and cut up the trees and get all the trees out when there's a big rain event coming and so forth. That's what this money's used for. It can be used for stabilizing banks along the creeks, things like that too. For the most part, ours is used for maintenance of those creeks and so forth.
For example, in Denton, a shop or something a little bit bigger, like at Heritage Town Crossing, if you count Target as part of it, $2,700 a month is your storm drainage fee for a property that size.
So,
There's a lot of runoff from parking lots.
Yeah.
just that housekeeping, I'm just asking, are these, the analyst in me is going crazy. They're not alphabetical order and they're not sorted by price.
Everybody's zip code.
Yeah, this one we actually compare more cities than we do our normal grouping, because you'll see that Arlington and Grand Prairie, some of those that we normally don't compare to are in this one.
So they just place them at the bottom, they call it that.
They're, It was just how we've had it set up for years, and when we make the calls, we do that, but we'll adjust that in the future.
Because Bedford goes before Colleyville. Okay.
Understand?
Okay. We're alphabetical by the third letter.
It's probably the order that Diane made the phone call.
That's right. Whoever picks up first. Whoever returns. And I went back to the water and wastewater combined rate here real quick, because you'll see that Colleyville was lower at $74.92. But then when you go back up to that drainage, you'll see that they're $7 and we're $2.50. So that, saying that about them, let's look at the entire utility bill compared to our normal people, just our normal comparison cities, just to see where we lie there. And you'll see this is with an 8,000 gallon customer applied to everybody's rates. You'll see that with their existing rates, they still come up to an average of $100.22. And Ulyss's proposed rate again, that's $93.19. And please note the little asterisk by our sanitation and recycling. That's even including our increase next April of where you got in there for sanitation and recycling.
To me, this is probably the best slide of all of them to look at, because this is taking the whole bill for all cities at 8,000 gallons, putting your water, your wastewater, your drainage, your sanitation, recycle, everything that comes on that bill. When you're looking at our line, that is our proposed rates without the rebate, with the increase in sanitation and recycle that will occur next April, and comparing it to their current rates. In Ulyss, you will get a bill for $93.18 or $93.19 next year in April when that takes effect. And in the other cities today, you would get the bill that you're seeing in that last column. So that's.
Do other cities use the same kind of 8,000 metric as an average?
That's kind of considered an industry-wide, just average. I can't tell you exactly what they use in their book, but 8,000 is considered an industry-wide average customer usage.
Yeah, see,
And that's one reason why on those other charts, we give you other measures for 20,000 and you know, probably Colleyville would maybe even go up to 50,000 because they have a lot of high usage customers. But the 8,000 is considered to be an average.
and the state does do and I think it's through the Water Development Board, I'm not sure. They do a survey every year, and they ask all of the cities to fill out all their survey information. And for residential accounts, they give us 5,000 gallons and 10,000 gallons. So that's what their average is based on.
And we did look at that, they did one statewide, and I'll tell you that we looked at it for statewide cities and ours, and we were very much below the average, even for a statewide. Chris had considered throwing it in there, but we had so many already on this. But we could give you that information, looking at it statewide as well, that, not just in our area, that we're still very, very.
Where would you put it on that?
So, did someone say Grapevine had their own wastewater treatment plant? Is that why they're flip-flopped on their prices?
Well, they take their water from Lake Grapevine, don't they?
They get water from TRA and they have a water treatment plant, so they're a combination.
It's just so much expensive, just 33 compared to the 42 for the wastewater portion. That's weird.
The road's right, this is the best slide though, because when somebody calls or just catches you on the street and says my water bill was X this month, that's the number they're talking about. They're not really ever talking about water, they're talking about the bill they got, that's generically called the water bill.
That's nice to repeat, Lucy, how much more expensive life is in Earth than in Ulyss.
I want to just laminate that
It's all over.
area around with.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
And I can't say what they're gonna do. I mean, obviously, we know Colleyville's looking at adjusting their rate. They've already gone to the flat rate. But I know that Fort Worth, Hearst is actually a customer of TRA in Fort Worth, but Fort Worth is going up considerably on their costs to their wholesale cities. So I can't imagine that those other cities are not going to have to make similar adjustments because their cost to purchase the water, either from TRA or Fort Worth, is also rising the same as ours. So,
In some cities, they'll keep their rate artificially low too.
Well, for years Bedford did that. They lost money in water intentionally.
Right.
so anyway, we can see when it's, you know, when everyone has passed their final budgets, what they do, but I can't imagine that they won't pass on.
You know, it'd be nice because we never do this. After the budgets are all passed, update that slide and bring it to us at a pre-council. We don't normally look at that again until next year's budget.
We don't mind all do that. We should better do that by early October.
So when I laminate that, you know, I have the current
Take it
numbers.
easy.
Just provide us with laminate copies.
That's right.
that was slide.
8.6.
28. It's on page 8-16.
I was off by one, I said 8.
Okay, just as we purchase, we have, we get water from our wells, but we purchase a lot of our water from TRA, Trinity River Authority. They purchase their water from Tarrant Regional Water District. So Tarrant Regional Water District, the raw water cost to TRA, they're projecting over the next 5 years, this increase, and that's 22 cents or 17% over the next 5 years.
We're showing you this line to show you that we don't see an end in this, because this is the place that TRA gets their water from, and this is their projection of their raw water costs between 2017 and 2021. So, TRA is obviously not going to absorb that, so that we show you that just to show you the future.
And in addition to that, I'm sorry, what?
That's just so deceiving because of it's only a 20-cent spread, but yet it makes it look just millions. Because
Oh,
Just the drive.
22 cents, but it's still 17%, so. And then TRA takes that 5-year projection and plugs it into their projections, and so they've got the increase here over the next 5 years of 80 cents to us, and that's 24% more than we're currently
And
paying.
that was deceiving because it looks like it's not so much, but that's.
Exactly.
So, but
We need to
yes,
work on our graphics stuff.
That's 80 cents that TRA is saying they need to pass through between 2016 and 2021.
Which tells you most of the whole thing is not the raw water cost, it's how they run their operation.
Well, you
Yeah,
know,
but
nobody on it.
I mean, at the point that TRA gets it, it's got to be treated. They have
Yeah.
all federal regulations in it.
Right, what I'm saying
So it's-
is, nobody audits TRA. They don't answer to anybody. They just run it and then say, okay, here's what you're going. And there's no real checks and balances. They're a monopoly, pretty much, that nobody, maybe the state in some way, shape, or form manages them, but
I would just tell you
I'm
that
pretty
Fort
sure if they
Worth
were
is-
running a real regular
Yeah.
business that had to make a profit or balance their stuff without just passing on to cities, we could find some fat in there.
And I would say that Fort Worth is doing the same thing with their raw water customers, or their wholesale customers.
I know what you're saying. I mean, number one, they're not a for-profit entity, but I think the gut check to that is when you look at the other TRA equivalents, so City of Fort Worth, City of Dallas, other places that are taking raw water and delivering a potable deal, you take those numbers and look at those, I think that is, now, I guess you could argue that.
Like I said, they're all the exact same thing.
But to the mother, to
There
ballpark
are
that, they are.
7 different named foxes, all guarding different hen houses, but they're still unregulated entities.
And again, we have, I cannot speak to TRA's budget. I mean, obviously they give us our costs. We certainly can have Fiona to come out and give an overview again of why their costs are what they are. Obviously, there are tremendous amounts of regulations on them, and if you've been to their facilities, they're pretty elaborate facilities that they have to operate to get that water to us, whether or not they need.
But they have no real incentive to cut costs. Because whatever they spend, they charge us. There is no incentive for them.
And I do not have the ability to say, we're not gonna buy for you this year, we're gonna do
Yeah.
it
Exactly.
somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
We're digging the big well.
But we have seen some cost reduction due to the fact that the kind of expected usage by the cities has reduced. So we have seen some small reductions because they haven't had to sell additional bonds.
I think what we've seen is reduction in expansion, thus
Yeah.
net
Yeah.
sales, so it's slow.
See, now that's called government savings, where we normally increase it $1 million a year, we're only increasing it $500,000, so we saved you $500,000.
Exactly.
But that's Washington math, Terry.
Or Austin math.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so going on to the wastewater costs.
It looks much better.
Let's say, her style here.
Obviously, there's no raw wastewater costs to flow in from Tarrant Regional Water District. So their TRA's projected 5-year increase on the wastewater side is $1.17 per 1,000 gallons. So it's a 46% increase in the next 5 years. So, as Ms. Getchell pointed out, this is going to continue to be.
And I'm happy to book Fiona to come
No,
back.
because she's just, I mean, I like her, but she's just gonna quote, I could give her presentation for you,
Right.
you know, without any problem at all.
Can you say plant, is the question?
Yeah, that's right.
Like when we toured, that's
Yeah.
what Harry and I were talking, like, we had toured our recycling facility, could we set up a tour with Fiona?
They do that
And if we're all
regularly. Yes,
available, we could go
absolutely.
do
It's
it?
been a lot of years since we did
They will
that.
take, and I think that would be helpful, because
It's
again,
amazing.
it,
Mhm.
If we put it on the calendar, then we could all just make an arrangement.
We went out there, what, 6 years ago, we got the award for the front water line. We were out there.
they
Did you even do a tour then?
Yeah. Well, it was a real short tour.
The,
I think it was just a game.
the water treatment is not quite, but almost in Euless, right down there off Motor Valley
Right.
Road. And then the sewer side's 12 miles away, so neither one of them are very far.
No, it's like going through a brewery, they'll give you a sample.
Yeah, but Chris is our taster for our water.
Is it one of those, is it a cup on a stick or you?
That's right.
so we'll try to get,
That's the wastewater plant.
Yeah.
get that set up, but other than obviously trying to get an explanation from TRA as to why their costs are increasing, and I feel certain that they would be happy to come and try to give that explanation. Any other concerns, questions? We've got Jackie here tonight, and she is our guru on note making, so if
I
there's
could
any
talk, just sitting over here talking to you about all that.
questions that y'all have on that, now would be the time to drill it.
Got my stuff, I'm ready for you.
Hey, Jackie, you've got a kindred spirit in TRA rate making right over there next to you.
Yeah.
Jackie, you might get, well, not your editorial, but your thought on the actual, the meetings. I mean, when you all go to their budget meetings, every city's represented, and every city has generally their finance directors or whoever they choose to bring to those. But in general, are they giving you all a pretty good amount of detail as to what's going into their budgets and why their costs are increasing?
Janine and I ask a lot of questions. We're probably the only ones that ask questions, but we do ask a lot of questions and we make them explain all the increases. They had some fairly significant increases in their IT operation, and I think they're upgrading their technology to save money in other areas. And then, of course, they have their normal personnel costs, and I think they've added a few positions.
There've been a few over the last couple of years, but nothing outrageous, you know, just kind of normal growth kind of thing. Like you said, a lot of it has been in the IT side. They've really automated a lot more stuff. Their debt service is huge. I mean, it's just massive with the amount of plants and transport, distribution, and all that kind of stuff. Their CIP budget is just extreme. But as for the operating budget, we quiz them every year about the number of positions, as well as their paid plan packages. Nothing has been outrageous since I've been going back to the meetings. Their insurance is high, just like ours. It is. They go through that process every year. Their chemicals are quite expensive every year and continue to go up every year. And I think ours pretty much do too. But of course, they just have massive amounts.
Well, basically, everything's going up every
Right.
year.
But riddle me this, Doc. They put all the money into IT to be more efficient, yet they're adding bodies, and usage is not, because we're using so much less with conservation in the overall region. I know that growth has